And good evening. I'm Trace Gallagher. It's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, 7 o'clock here in Los Angeles. And this is a breaking news edition of Fox News at Night. There are reports coming in that Israel has now begun its highly anticipated retaliatory strikes against Iran. Now, we are tracking these developments, and we are hearing that explosions have been heard over Iran proper, as well as in southern Syria, and explosions heard above Iraq. We do not know if any areas of Iraq were hit. We think there were some explosions in southern Syria, and there are reports of possibility of strikes in southern Iran near the Natanz and the Fordow nuclear facilities. Remember, these are the facilities that are said to be places that you can produce nuclear weapons. They also have a uranium conversion facility in Isfahan. And this is also in southern Iran, and there are reports that there have been airstrikes in that area as well.
Well, they finally went through with it. They had 3 aborts this week. 3 aborts. In fact, that began Sunday evening, and of course, all the way up until now. This is a low-level target, but the heart of operations with Iran. That's where all their in Isfahan is where they do their research and development of nuclear weapons. This is a message, of course, but it is the beginning of what could be a long campaign. This will invite international rebuke. Everybody should be familiar with that, get themselves prepared for that. Strong international rebuke. And so we'll start going into a direction that we've not been in before, but it is going to be very divisive. Hopefully, Christians do not get caught up in the divisiveness. Because if people were sickened by all these folks who suddenly turned against Israel and supported Hamas activities, they're going to be sickened by what happens next. And here's why. I do realize, they have these target packages that are being struck in Iran and various places, but I'm going to point everybody's direction back here to the USA. We all know we had response systems go down yet again. At first, they said it was cellular activity, right? The cellular companies went down. Well, it's a hardware issue. That's bad. You'd rather have a hacker. You don't want a hardware issue. What that means is some of these devices and your iPhones and everything else. In fact, this is why Apple did what they did with the brand new iPhone. They had to get everybody replaced. China is one of the largest manufacturers of integrated circuits and MCUs, or those little tiny processors, microcontroller units. They have the largest production sites for this. They also have a small business normally uses Chinese companies to develop circuit boards, or to put together circuit boards, print them, put the electronic components on them. And of course, those products are distributed around the world. Chinese people are very smart concerning electronics, right? Inside the circuit board, here's what was found. With no electronic components on that circuit board, these are 4, 5, 6, 7 layer circuit boards. They're very tiny. Inside those layers, circuitry was found. That's bad. Imagine somebody gets a circuit board printed, right, for a coffee pot, a coffee maker. And somebody gets that, they get the circuit boards back, they inspect them, the circuit boards are perfect, right? They assemble those in the USA. What they couldn't see was on the internal layers of that circuit board, there was a control system, right? Okay. Secondary circuitry that was not developed by those engineers. And so because this is in essence, the circuit board itself became a electronic component, a smart electronic component. So when you have hardware that starts shutting down in 27 states, right? On the East Coast right now, there's a 911 issue. There's a DMV issue. There are two power company issues on the East Coast right now. There are water treatment plant issues on the East Coast right now. It's starting to spread. So you don't have synchronized hardware failure like this. Remember back when MH370, I believe it was, when that company from Texas, they had folk representatives. Do you know that some of those folks knew the relationship with, they knew intimate details of companies that were in China that were working here in the USA? They knew what they were doing. They knew it. And so the military at that time also began to switch all of its hardware, right, to US-based hardware. They got rid of all Chinese chips. The Navy had to get rid of all Chinese chips. Everybody did. Why? Because they had the shut-off circuitry in there, which could be enacted by radio. How they would do that is they send a balloon over, the area. That balloon would then ping those devices and shut them off. So it didn't matter if it were networked or not. They could shut those devices off. So here we are, right at the brink of this Iranian issue. Right, we start having issues with our emergency systems. And by the way, 911, right, that's tied to the FBI, CIA, and all these different places. So it's part of the critical infrastructure. And it is, they have some things they have to do. Phone companies are starting to go down. So the websites still work, but the hardware shut down. The hardware is shut down. So you can access some websites, but you can't, there's no operational validity to those sites right now because of what was taken out. So this is where we are. This is connected. I'll say that loosely. Well, let me say it gently. This is likely connected to what's happening in the Middle East. It is likely a part of a larger campaign, and we're at the lowest level of this campaign that we're going to see. In other words, these would be the peaceful times. They're focused right now on the support systems dealing with Iran's ability to overwhelm any one area with missile barrages. So what they're going for is these radar systems, right? They're trying to get those out of the way. These are Russian radar systems, by the way. Even the attack against Israel, do you not know that was a Russian? That was a Russian tactic, right? Even down to the armaments. That was fully Russian. That was a Russian tactical. Iran is operating, utilizing Russian procedures, Russian offenses, Russian plans, right? So that means it's highly coordinated with Russia. And who's been supporting all this? Well, Iran they get $88 billion, that revolving money from China as a petroleum. That's revolving, right? And those numbers are not accurate. Those numbers are somewhat degraded by a large deal. So what we now have are three countries, right? I know people, they don't want to hear this, but you have Russia, you have China, and you have Iran. They have a joint force. They have joint force operational planning against the West, right? Russia is pinned to the wall. You have folks in the White House who, well, they may not see hidden things about Russia. They can't afford to give up the Ukraine. That's the only thing protecting the Western alliance, and it looks like it's faltering. You have China, who is supporting, they're paying out big money, right? Big money, both Russia and Iran. How can China do that? That's what everybody should ask. How can China give away, basically trillions of dollars to both of those countries? How can they do that? Because sanctions are not doing anything, right? People should be aware of this. They should put this picture together. And then all of a sudden, we're starting to have these USA-based anomalies, right? The bridge that was taken down, all these things. But again, you have Of course, we have these folks over here who are arrogant. I believe this is going to wake some of them up, but in our leadership, we've been having a problem for a long time. I believe that this is going to wake some of those people up.
This has been the Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching the Confidential Report.